she did spend a lot of time, caucusing with Republicans, even on very minor issues.
Democratic Representatives Cori Bush, Ro Khanna, and former Representative Donna Edwards all trashed Kyrsten Sinema in various media appearances. So you have here current Democratic lawmakers trashing and former Democratic lawmaker trashing another Democrat. Now, this rarely happens, but clearly they see an issue here with Kyrsten Sinema specifically. Not even really Joe Manchin as much as Sinema and her opposition to the budget bill. So first, I want to play for you Ro Khanna's clip, and he really lays it all out.
All of the folks at the White House know we're being reasonable, and literally one senator, Kyrsten Sinema, is holding up the will of the entire Democratic Party.
What has she said that she wants, as far as you know?
That's the question. The president keeps begging her, tell us what you want. Put a proposal forward. You see the progressives. Look at what we've compromised on. We went from $6 trillion to $3.5 trillion. Then they said we need to pass a bill in the Senate first. We said, even if you come up with an agreement, that's fine. Then they said, go below $3.5 trillion. We said, okay, we're willing to negotiate, front load the benefits. Let's talk about the years. We are willing to compromise. How do you compromise, John, when Sinema is not saying anything? And what's mind-boggling is you have unanimity in the House. Tomorrow the Speaker could get a deal in the House on a number, and I believe you have 48 senators. I believe Senator Manchin would come on board. It's important for people to realize this. This is not progressives versus moderates. This is the entire Democratic Party and Joe Biden versus Kyrsten Sinema.
And you have no idea what she wants?
I have no idea what she wants. I don't think her colleagues know what she wants. I don't think the president knows what she wants. I don't think House moderates knows what she wants. We've said, let's get in a room. Let's negotiate. Let's come up with a deal. And I just don't understand it. I mean, the president carried her state. Look, I respect Senator Manchin. He's in a state that is 30% Trump, and he always comes through at the end, and he's a person who votes his conviction. Kyrsten Sinema is in a state that Biden carried. Her colleague, Mark Kelly, who has higher popularity ratings, he's totally on board with the agenda. And Sinema is out there saying she doesn't want to raise even a dime of taxes on the wealthy, on multimillionaires. You know, they're all in my district. I'm saying raise their taxes. But we don't know what she wants. It's really odd.
All right. So first off, I want to say that this is awesome. This needs to happen more often. But let's take it a step further. Kyrsten Sinema is essentially a Republican. I think she enjoys playing this game. I think she enjoys pretending to be a Democrat, yet always siding with Republicans, especially when it comes to her corporate donors. Now, this, of course, is the major obstacle, is the fact that Kyrsten Sinema currently, right now, is raising money from business groups as she is resisting the budget bill. So from New York Times here, Sinema resists the budget bill. She is set to raise money from business groups that oppose it. That's the whole shebang. I mean, this is why she is against the budget bill. But it's not even just that. I mean, Manchin also has this issue. It's a step further for Sinema in the sense that she really enjoys being the villain. I mean, I covered when she voted down that minimum wage increase, and she had that little, gave that little dance when she gave her thumbs down. It's all a performance for her. It really is disgusting. And I have a couple more clips here, as I said, of others commenting on this. But Ro Khanna, I think, really lays out the entire issue here, where he even views Joe Manchin as somebody that he could work with. But Sinema, he does not know what she wants in order to actually support the budget bill, which is ultimately why I think there is no chance this is passing. I don't know how they get Sinema on board when she's currently raising money from the very groups that oppose the budget bill. But let me go to now Cori Bush and her comments on Kyrsten Sinema.
I would love to see someone who represents a predominantly black district be at the table. I would love to see someone who represents more diversity at the table. I would love to see more black women at the table. And it doesn't have to be me. But when I look at who is representing us, when I think about how often Kyrsten Sinema gets to go to the table to the White House, and she does not represent the communities that I represent. Can she speak and advocate? Absolutely. But she's not doing that. It has to be the people over property. It has to be people over corporations. And that's not what we have right now. And so I'm absolutely, absolutely disgusted.
So you see here, Cori Bush bringing up Kyrsten Sinema as a way to try and discuss how there is not any real representation for the sorts of communities that she represents in Missouri. She doesn't see that at the table having these negotiations with Joe Biden, and she's exactly right to point that out. And Kyrsten Sinema is the obvious person to point to here, considering that even her own state doesn't support her. So I'm going to show more polling on this in a second here, especially with the next video with Donna Edwards. But I covered this recently. 2/3 of Arizona Democratic voters back primary challenge to Sinema over filibuster. So because of Sinema's opposition to getting rid of the filibuster, Democratic voters in Arizona want to get rid of her. And her, as you'll see in the next video, her support compared to Mark Kelly is truly night and day. So two Democratic senators in the same state, Mark Kelly supports the budget bill, Sinema does not. And it's going to be obvious from this poll where the voters stand.
The polling on Sinema is fascinating. We got this new polling data for progress to this poll. So you've got a little bit of a test case. You've got Sinema and Kelly, right? And they're both from the same state. They have similar overall numbers, but Kelly's very, very approved by Democrats and very disapproved by Republicans. Sinema has much lower approval among Democrats, higher approval against Republicans, although when you are in a race against a Republican, it's unclear how much that's going to help you. And they both won their seats, right? So these are different approaches here. As someone who served with her in the House, do you have a read on what's the deal?
Well, I mean, my experience of Senator Sinema when she was in the House is that she did spend a lot of time, caucusing with Republicans, even on very minor issues. And so I think this is a long-standing problem, and it is, it's a challenge, I think, for the majority leader, for Senator Schumer, in trying to make sure that there are 50 votes in support of the Build Back Better plan, as well as the infrastructure that's already passed. And so I don't know what the answer is, but I do think part of the answer is Arizona voters calling her to task. I mean, you look at that wide gap between her and Mark Kelly, who's up for re-election next year. Senator Sinema is not up until 2024, but her numbers have been going progressively down over this last year from her vote on the minimum wage to where she is right now.
That gap between Mark Kelly and Kyrsten Sinema is absolutely wild. But it shows you that her own voters are with supporting the budget bill and against her. So, and the comments there from Donna Edwards, while she was working with Sinema, saying that Sinema spends a lot of time caucusing with Republicans. This again goes to why I think Sinema is just an undercover Republican. I mean, what is she doing? Why else is she there? Why is she doing what she's doing currently? It's not just about her donors. Of course, that's a large piece of it, the major piece of it, I would think. But it's obviously also about this game that she enjoys playing. She enjoys being the villain. More data on that. So this is a recent poll. So I've shown you two polls so far, one in that video, one before about the primary challenge, one here from MoveOn. Senator Sinema's constituents less likely to support her re-election if she continues to obstruct Biden's Build Back Better agenda. That's the budget bill. So 89% of MoveOn member respondents, many who volunteered for her campaign, are less likely to support her again in the next election. That less likely should be definitely not support her in the next election. This is not somebody you want to support. Democrats don't have the Senate. Republicans do. They may have it on paper, but clearly they don't have the Senate. When you can't get Manchin and especially now Sinema on board, even to suggest how they may cut down the bill, there's nothing at all coming from Sinema. She has no suggestions for how to cut the bill down. Just is completely opposed to it for whatever reason, because of the backing that she has from these large donors. So I showed you the headline here from New York Times, but a little more on this meeting that she had with these business groups. So this from Vanity Fair. Quote, please join RoofPAC, S-Corp PAC, NECA PAC, NAPAC, NGA Grocers PAC for an event honoring Senator Kyrsten Sinema, reads the fundraiser invitation obtained by the New York Times, which prominently features Sinema's campaign logo. The invite, according to the Times, asked attendees to write checks for Sinema's campaign ranging from $1,000 and $5,800. Among the groups attending the Sinema campaign event include the Republican-leaning National Association of Saylor distributors, which condemned Biden's spending package, quote, passing the largest tax increase in U.S. history on the backs of America's job creators as they recover from a global pandemic is the last thing Washington should be doing, wrote the NAW. The Democrats' nearly $3 trillion tax hike proposal is so massive and harmful that even if Democrats were to ultimately cut it down, it would still destroy millions of Americans' jobs and businesses. So absolutely ridiculous. The budget bill actually helps people invest into Medicare, child care, free community college, a climate investment, lower prescription drug prices. The idea that these massive corporations can't afford to pay a little more when they already were paying a lot more under Obama and were fine, they existed, they didn't go away, is such BS. But whatever tax cut they can get, that's all they care about. All they care about is their own personal wealth and nothing else. And Sinema is right in line with this crap. So ultimately here, I don't think this budget bill is going to pass. I mean, how would it? When you have Sinema in the Senate, you need her vote. Even if you were able to get Manchin's support somehow, you still have Sinema to contend with, who is just right now acting as a Republican. So I really can't imagine what would need to be done for this budget bill to pass.